Hey, ladies and gentlemen, all across the globe, welcome to another time with Dr. Larry Carnes. Elder Kevin Vaughan here with you. Doc, always good to see you, sir. Optimum blessing to you, sir.
I receive an optimum blessings to you.
Amen. I received, Doc. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is your midday moment where we talk about the power. What my wonderful topic, one of my best topics on the planet, folks. The power of transformation and the transformational process, ladies and gentlemen. It is a wonderful journey. And for those who need a quick summary, the goal is to get you to your optimum, to your best self yet. That is the whole purpose of these series, folks, is to get you on the journey to get to your best self yet, folks. It's amazing, amazing. And it's something I think all y'all need to consider out there, no matter where you're at on the planet. But guys, we've been having a great time with Doc over the years and got hundreds of hours of audio and video now. And we just thank you guys so much for joining us. And also thank you guys for sharing out as well on your midday. Hey guys, this is your midday moment, your transformational midday moment with Dr. Larry Carter. Doc, as always, thank you for your time, sir.
Well,
Appreciate
thank you. And want to extend the optimum blessings to those of you who are watching. We
you. Yeah.
begin by decreeing and declaring the greatest and most favorable degree of the Creator's growth, increase, and reproduction, continuously operating, manifesting, and being demonstrated in every area of your lives. And the declaration is everything lost, stolen, or forfeited is returned. I want to speak to you as I'm thinking about something. And
Yeah.
this just came to my mind this morning. I was speaking on it about diffusing internal conflict. We talked about it before,
Yeah. Yeah.
but when there's confusion going on the inside of you, there's something that needs to be resolved.
Yeah.
An internal conflict stems from confusion that takes place in the mind, the spirit of your mind. And when
Mhm.
there's internal conflict, taking place in your mind, then everything about you is going to be in a state of confusion. And so you have to come to a place of learning how to diffuse the internal conflict. I was speaking with some people on last evening, and I talked about the spirit of being paranoid.
Mm.
And that spirit of paranoia can creep in and it begins to mess with your mind. Now, listen to this. See, when you have a spirit that the spirit of paranoia, it begins to mess with your mind, and when it messes with your mind, it messes with your imagination. You start imagining things that aren't real. They're
Yeah.
not real in the natural, but watch this now, but they're real when it comes to the spirit of your mind, and you're being held hostage. There was a person, and this person actually believed that there were people from the past who
Mm.
were in their present place and was watching them. This person actually believed that every time they left their residence, that someone went into their residence.
Wow.
Actually believed it. I said, wait a minute now. And so I'm talking to the person
Yeah.
and trying to get the person to start to think rationally. Didn't happen. Now
Wow.
this person, watch this now. Now this person has institutionalized themselves
Wow.
and will very seldom leave their place of residence because they feel like someone's watching them, someone's out to get them.
Yes.
They're, they have an internal conflict. Well, the power of transformation is about renewing the spirit of your mind. So we have to ask ourselves the question, what is it that occurred in this individual's life that was so traumatic and so traumatizing that they are being held hostage. They're holding
Mm.
themselves hostage. Listen to
Wow.
this. Now, this is what the person told me. They had a medical condition, and whatever the medical condition was, I didn't ask.
Mm-hmm.
It got to the degree where it impacted their legs, and they would not go to the doctor or the hospital. And
Mm.
when they finally got some attention, their legs had to be amputated.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
All in their mind. And they told me this, said, I'm in my present physical condition because they thought that someone and other people were out to get them. They had internal conflict,
Yeah.
and they chose not to diffuse the conflict when it wasn't real. Now, that state of paranoia, when they appeared to be getting over it, and I was working with them, and they were making some progress, and then they chose to go back.
Woo.
That's what
Yeah.
we tell you about transformation and the transformational journey. Now, it's going to be more difficult for
Yeah.
that person now
Yep.
to come out of that state of being held hostage and
Yeah.
the self-imposed institutionalization. It's going to be more difficult now because they went back. And I'm telling you, the place where they are now is so much isolation that I saw them once. They came out for something, but darted back to that place.
Wow. Wow.
The power of transformation. See, they're mating in captivity, unhealed hurts, unmet needs, unresolved issues. But what is it that caused it to happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why have they institutionalized themselves? Dealing with the mind. Now, the person is an intelligent person if you just talk to him.
Mhm.
But someplace in that mind, there's that paranoia.
Mhm.
The power of transformation is the renewing of the spirit of the mind. And listen to this now. There comes a time when you may need to get some medical help, but
Mhm.
medical help won't benefit the person because the person wants to stay where they are. They're not crazy.
Right.
I'm telling you that mentally sequence. I've talked with the person, so
Wow.
that's a spiritual thing. It deals with renewing the spirit of the mind. They need no, see, that's a spiritual paranoia that's
Wow.
taking place.
Deep
And
there,
those
bro.
outside voices.
Woo.
And so, what is it that has caused this person to be that way? Unhealed hurts, unmet need, unresolved issues, dealing with the spirit of the mind. So now the internal restructuring of their spiritual DNA needs to take place. I was talking to them and doing a workshop, doing some teaching, and I talked about how people can imagine things, and that thing that you imagine becomes real to you. And
Yeah.
they stopped and they said, Bishop, that was just for me. They knew that they were imagining things that were not real, their imagination, and they were making progress, but then decided to pivot and go back.
That
Now,
part.
watch this.
Wow.
It wasn't my responsibility to, I can't force them to do anything because, watch this, even in that capacity, I'm
Mhm.
not responsible for their failure or their success. The
Mhm.
power of transformation
Yeah.
is based upon the individual's determination
Mhm.
to be transformed and to allow the spirit of their mind to be transformed. It's taught a liberated mind.
Mhm.
But if the individual, if you refuse to be liberated and transformed by
Wow.
renewing the spirit of your mind and stop allowing yourself to be held hostage by things that you are imagining that aren't real.
Yeah.
And you do that. You have to know whose you are. You have to know who you are. And you have to make a decision to say, I will not allow myself to be held captive by that which is unreal, by that which is untrue. And then you have to speak to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Control my thinking,
Yeah.
control my emotions. See, you have to do that. Control my thinking, control my thoughts, control my emotions. Control my thinking, control my thoughts, control my emotions. And you have to tell yourself that you have the mind of the Creator. You have the mind of God. You have the mind of Christ. You have the mind of the Creator. And it's not, I'm not talking church. I'm just talking about you're created in the image and likeness of the Creator.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
have to convince yourself and speak to yourself. But now that affirmation requires some action.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do something to cause
Yeah.
it to come to pass. I want you to remember to always out love, out serve, out forgive each other. Optimum blessing to you.
Man, Doc, that's some serious counsel there. Some serious opportunities to say. I wrote down two key words, guys, today that Doc talks about and talked about today. Man, Doc, it all still comes down to decision. Man, decision, decision. You can have all the training, all the coaching, all the great whatever. You still have to make a decision up here in your mind. And Doc, I think one area that was helpful for me, you also got to voice activate. You just can't think it. You can't think the right information that Doc shared. You got to voice activate the opposite of what you're trying to get away from instead of just conforming to it. So I think those are two key areas. Not only do you have to make a decision, ladies and gentlemen, on the way you want to live, you also got to voice activate the opposite of what you're trying to get away from. And Doc always used me. I have to use me on this one because I think we talked about this years ago, where I was going into a self-sabotaging mode. Man, I said, what in the world? But I knew it. That's the thing. I knew I was trying to self-sabotage myself, but I knew I was doing it. So it was crazy until I got some understanding of how to break that crazy stuff or crazy thinking. I had to understand that, but that was crazy to know that you're self-sabotaging yourself and then know it. I mean, and then go back to it in some cases. And I said, man, this is crazy. This don't make any sense. So it's
So,
all about decision, though, Doc. I had to make a decision not to go down those paths.
well, now when you say that, what were some indicators that you were self-sabotaging? And then what decision did you make to address it and stop self-sabotaging?
Yeah, well, I guess I was thinking about the one probably was at work when I was working. If you were not thinking I had the ability to do certain things, that type of thing. I could actually do the work because I was trained to do the work, but didn't want to do the work or did it at an inferior level, if you will. So eventually you have to think about that. Say, man, I can get fired here. I don't want to lose my livelihood, right? So you have to think about this stuff and think it through. But I had to have some help, and that was through the optimum return and teaching and things that you taught over the years, Doc. You got to start thinking about this stuff. But I had to hear something different, and that was the difference for me, Doc. Knowing that, hey, if I continue in the way of not doing my performance correctly at my job or home, wherever it's at, I will I will not have what I want. And it just made sense when you think about it. But I had to make a decision that I will change this thinking habit, the ways I know I can do certain things, put some more faith in what I can really do, specifically in the workplace, Doc. And that helped me a lot. But I had to think about it first, because the loss would have been more greater than what I was going through. I didn't want to lose my job, right? Don't want to get fired when you know you can do the work. It's amazing. It's amazing. So that's just one example I thought about, Doc.
So basically, boiling that down, are you talking about, are you speaking about attitude? What
Yeah,
needed to take place in you was attitude.
yeah, that's part of it. Yep, attitude was part of it.
Well,
Character
see,
was
if you
part of
say
it.
you knew you could do it,
Yeah,
you didn't want to do it,
right,
you wasn't giving your best effort to do it, then
right,
that was an attitude thing.
right. That's exactly right. Yeah,
So once there was an attitude adjustment, attitude is thinking, attitude is mind, attitude is okay. So once you change your thinking or your thinking was transformed, then your attitude and your perception was
yeah.
transformed.
Absolutely, Doc. That's it right there. Yeah, the perception has changed, but that was based on what I heard from your teaching. You got to renew the mind.
Yeah,
But I didn't understand the root cause earlier. That's the only problem. I didn't know how to solve the problem. Even though I recognized I had an issue, I didn't know how to solve it until I heard the optimal return and the power of transformation, and then started learning that process. Doc, that's what really helped me tremendously, ladies and gentlemen. The power of transformation is real, and you do have to make it some decisions, and then you got to renew that mind. But you gotta make it happen, folks. And it's amazing, Doc, because it was still on me. Everything was on me. I couldn't call the doc. I prayed and stuff. That was great. And the Lord said, hey, keep going, keep going. So I didn't get the help I thought I was going to get, but it was all up here, Doc.
Uh,
Most of it was up here.
yeah, but well, see, the thing about that, you see, when you listen to that, you have to say, okay, First, now
Hmm.
let's do an analysis. Why did
Yeah.
I have the mindset or the attitude toward doing a particular thing that I had?
Right. Right.
See, I
Yeah.
got to get to that. Why do I have
Yeah.
this attitude, this
Yeah.
mindset toward this particular thing?
Yeah. I really
See,
didn't know. In some cases, I didn't even know. Yeah, really. Why?
just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, just didn't want because I didn't have the training or the understanding of what to do or even why I was doing it. I have to say probably some outside forces, other things going on in life probably affected that as well. But I really don't know that for sure. But I have to say some other things probably contributed to that because different things can come up in your life and you have to deal with it, and that could potentially impact that area.
Now, that's when we have to get into another area.
Right.
That's where
Yeah.
we have to
Yeah.
be strong enough to where we
Yeah.
come to a place to
Yeah.
understand, okay, I
Yeah.
have to be able to separate this
Right.
from this.
Right.
I can't bring this into my workplace, and
Right.
I can't bring this workplace thing into my other home, into my home and my other environments,
Yep.
because when I do, things get out of balance.
Right.
And so
Right.
when I allow those things now, see, because I'm facing things outside of the job,
Yep.
but when
Yep.
I allow those things to impact my performance here,
Right.
it's going to
Right.
be detrimental to both places.
Absolutely.
And that's where I speak and I begin to coach and train people on maintaining that balance and now the power and the law of
Yeah.
separation.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, Doc.
See, that applies in a lot of areas where people haven't learned to apply it. That
Right.
law of separate. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
powerful, Doc. Yeah, because one thing I think you mentioned, Doc, over the years, at least I put it together, is that you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, the employer is not paying you to bring issues from your home to the workplace. He's not paying you for that. They can be a little sympathetic. Your management could be a little sympathetic, but you still got to get the job done, or
Yeah.
either they'll replace you. So very simple. It's not for me to bring all that stuff there. And I had to realize that because I know the greater issue would have been me getting fired, Doc, and I didn't want that. Nobody wants that, right? I was smart enough to know I didn't want to lose my job. So I was kind of forced to make sure I changed my attitude and changed my way of thinking. And so thank God, Doc, I gotta always give you the props, man, for the option return and the power transformation because I said maybe he's right. I said maybe he's right, and I'm gonna tell you, Doc, you are right in this area for sure. So thank you for the opportunity because it changed my life, folks. It literally
Wow.
changed my life. Yeah, I've got a lot of testimonies that you guys will never hear about probably, but it works. It really works. It really works.
Man, that's awesome.
God is good, man.
Yeah. And it's a progressive,
Yeah,
transformation is progressive.
yeah it is, Doc.
And there are the different phases of it. And
Yeah,
that's what we have to understand. It's progressive and there are
yeah.
different phases to transformation.
Amen. And Doc, one thing that's so important too that I think that you brought out is I couldn't rely on my own perspective.
Yeah.
My perspective, ladies and gentlemen, is limited. I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, right? But my perspective had to change, folks. Now I'm a pretty nice guy, pretty good guy, but my perspective had to broaden. I'll just say that had to broaden some
Yeah.
more in order to get some breakthroughs, if you will, for my life, guys. But the power transformation is real, folks. The optimum return is real, and as Les Brown says, Doc, you got to be hungry, man. If you want to get this
Mhm.
process in, you got to be hungry. I wanted to change, Doc. I wanted to get better, but I didn't know how until you brought this wonderful concept and wonderful teaching into play.
Yes, sir. Amen. I tell you, that's powerful.
Yes, sir. So we're excited, guys. So thank you, guys. I hope you guys are benefiting a little bit. Two key words today. Got to make a decision, folks. Everybody's talking about the dog on the nail, right? I'm not a dog, yet, and I'm not sitting on the nail. So you all just make a decision, right, to make a change, right, in your life. But you're going to have some help, guys. I highly recommend you ask questions, right? The other one is you got to voice activate. Man, when do you get tired? You got to get tired, man. You got to get tired of doing the old same thing over and over again, right? And so, guys, the power transformation is real. The optimum return is real. But guess what? You're going to need some help because this is not taught everywhere on the planet, folks. So I highly recommend you get in touch with us via Facebook, Docs on Optimum Leadership Coach. You can catch him on Instagram and TikTok and, of course, Facebook page. And if you guys got any problems, trying to get in touch with Doc for questions or just want to learn more about maybe what he can do to help you on guiding you a little bit in coaching and training, let us know. I'll be glad to forward that information. So wherever you're seeing this at, guys, let me know. Say, hey, I got a question for Doc, and I'll push it over to him as well. And the goal, guys, is to get you to your best self yet. I don't know how else to say it, Doc, to get you to your best self. And I think most of us will listening right now will say, yeah, I want to do that every day, right? Everybody wants to do that. So let's work on it. But you got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy. But most of all, you got to have a process, folks. And you got to be willing to stay in the process. So Doc, I always want to give you props again. Thank you so much for teaching the optimal return and the power transformation over the years. Man, I almost want to cry here, man, because that is that powerful for me. So thank you so much again.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you.
I appreciate you. Changing my entire life. Amazing. Well, guys, I hope your life is changing as well. I want you guys to share this out to everybody on the planet. You just never know. We need one person, right, to say, hey, I'm changing my life today. And let me get started, right? Some people just need a little push, right? A little encouragement, right? A little motivation. Well, you got it today, guys, because life is serious, folks. It's a wonderful journey, but it's also serious, too. Very serious. And it's going to throw some stuff at you, but you need to win on the other side. And how you win, that you learn how to navigate, if you will, navigate what we call life, folks. It's amazing. So there's so much to that. But you can get more information, guys. Get in touch with Doc as soon as possible, guys. Get your consultation there. Everything is confidential, guys, on our end. So let us know if you need some help. Ask questions. If we don't know, we'll definitely find out for you. But I think you'll have a good start just asking questions about the optimal return, power transformation, or maybe you just have something you want to talk to Doc about, right, about your life. And our goal is to get you to your best self yet. Doc, again, thank you so much for your time, sir. Appreciate you.
Awesome blessings, and thank you.
Amen. Thank you, guys. Hey, take care, guys. Don't forget to share this out on all social media platforms. All my folks in Norway, UK, Africa, South Africa, of course, Asia, and of course, the United States. You guys share this out too as well. And we thank you so much in advance. Take care, folks.